this is a dialogue. And Leah, you told me today that for Jesus, it took only 12 people to change. And we, as Israeli, we have a beautiful song called Ani ve'ata neshane et ha'olam. You and I will change the world. Only two needs for a dialogue. And I would never change the world if I wouldn't change myself. So I think I've changed, and I thank you all.
But it's a piece. It's a piece of the big mosaic that we want to build. And it must be beautiful, full of colors, full of hope for everybody. So it's true. We don't know where we are going, but it's true. We will not go back from this point.
I think that women have a vital role to play. First, as mothers. Second, as wives. And then as leaders. Because if every woman or every mother starts teaching her children about peace, even at the domestic level, then this will grow onto the national level, and then it will go up to the international level as well. So it is vital for women to appreciate the role that they have to play at all these levels, domestically, nationally, and then internationally. I think it is absolutely. If it were left in the hands of the women, I'm sure that peace will reign in the world. But I don't think that we do appreciate how vital it is for us to get onto the processes.
Well, what can I say? I think women are much more powerful and intelligent than men. The men take the power, I don't know where from, but the women work with the power that comes from the heart, which is a very different power. I think women understand that the world needs dialogue, needs peace, needs understanding. I can talk a lot about what I think women, the role of women in this world, but I come from a family that my mother too was a fighter. She used to stand in the streets for change. So for me, it's very natural as a woman to make everything that I can to bring people to see one another. And you're very right. You have the impression sometimes that people can walk without seeing each other. Not only Israelis and Palestinians, all over the world. You go to former Yugoslavia, in Sarajevo, the Bosnians don't, you know. So in many places of the world, people don't see each other because their soul is nourished by hate, by frustration, by opinions that I don't know where they got them. Their hearts are closed at a very early stage. It's something to do with education. It's something to do with tradition. Maybe it's something to do with religion. I don't know, because I grew up in a family that always believed in peace and said it's the most important thing. Because if there isn't peace, you can't breathe. Your whole life is in the hands of the other. You need your lives to be in your own hands, and with these hands to do the best you can. And women understand that.
When we meet the women, it's like looking at the other. But as women, sometimes in society, we are the other. We're trying to win in a man's world, to have career, but both have a family. And we found common things that really identify us more than separate us. And then we can speak about separation and differences and conflict, but it gave strength.
Prima di tutto siamo vicine per il fatto di essere donne e madri, e condividendo anche i piccoli problemi della vita di famiglia già superiamo una prima barriera. E poi donne che hanno voglia di vivere nella verità.
I was never cynical, I was never violent, I was never aggressive. I may be a little stupid, maybe a little naive, that I still believe in peace. Because I think that if we won't believe, it's going to be terrible. You can't live without a wish. You can't live without a dream of a better world, of a change. It's very hard to live without it. So, you know, it's like you throw babies into the water. They make all kind of, because they want to swim, they want to live. We want to live, and we have to do everything we can that the life will be for everyone, as good as it should be. Very simple. Very simple. We don't need a lot. We just need peace. We need the air to be light with no fear. And so we have to believe in it. Otherwise, What is life really about?
I think that it's only the pessimists who think that the world is, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel. It is always darkest before light. And I am very optimistic. We have been brought up with different prejudices, but now people are saying that the old prejudices have not helped. They're having new dreams. The old dreams have not nurtured us. They're having dreams, and the dream is that there'll be peace. There could easily have been war a few months ago. One person wanted war. They had started something that could, in the old days, could easily have ended up in war. But there are tall men walking around who do not want the world to lapse into a third world war. And there is peace. People are now talking about diplomatic ways of solving problems instead of the old gung-ho of just going to war at the least opportunity. And I know that something is happening now. People are tired of war. People want peace. And if it takes the women to bring about peace, then why not? I am all for it. And I know that they are going to dream and dream of peace until it becomes a reality.
Not all the time it would be accepted that you will be a woman, a religion woman, that working with a man and
You scream.
you scream what you need, what you want to do. And sometimes I have some people that say, Faten, you should go and work as a teacher, go at the morning and go to the home after the school. And that's it. Why you must do something like that? But now I feel that this is my dream. This is my shlichut.
My mission.
My mission. And I cannot let anybody to take me back, and it take a time, and step by step they will be in a safe place and good place.
החלום הראשון שיהיה פה שלום בארץ ישראל, ושאנחנו לא נצטרך לחשוב לא על הצבא, ולא על מלחמות, ולא על להתגונן. החיים שלנו צריכים להיות סביב הצמיחה והפריחה, ולדאוג לזכויות של עם אחר, ולזכויות של אנשים מעוטי יכולת, אנשים מוגבלים, בכל דרך שהיא, שאלה יהיו הדאגות שלנו. ולא דאגות של מלחמות, שהמשאבים שהקדוש ברוך הוא נותן עלי האדמות, אם זה הגז ואם זה החומרים הטכנולוגיים, ואם זה כל הדברים האלה, יהיו משותפים לאנושות כולה, כדי שנבנה עולם קצת יותר טוב ויותר בטוח לילדים שלנו. עולם של השכלה ושל מדע ושל טכנולוגיה, גם לילדים שלנו וגם לכל הילדים במזרח התיכון ובעולם כולו.
Walls are very, very difficult to tear down, I think. But it's something in your head. The wall is in your head. I mean, now it's physical too, unfortunately, and they have the reasons. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into the reasons why they think the wall is necessary. But I think what is more difficult in life is the walls people create between themselves and the others. Because I think that if you really believe in human beings, you have to know that everyone is equal and everyone is created with the same heart and the same, way to go in life. We start and we end. So you have to tear down the walls, even the walls you have inside you between the others. I never had these walls. I have friends from all over the world, from different faiths, from different, even political opinions, because I always look at the other and I don't see walls. If you want to see a wall, you always will see a wall. If you don't see a wall, if you believe that you can make the change, then the wall can turn to be invisible. It's very hard to take it down unless you are really persuaded that it needs to be down, because only without a wall there can be peace. I just now gave a lecture on the wall of Berlin, okay? What this wall did, how much hatred, how much frustration, how life was difficult under the wall. And one day just went like this. So I think in Israel it's much more, unfortunately, complicated and much more sad, very, very sad. I grew up without a wall.
I think that a lot of us we talk about walls. Gilli yesterday was talking about the wall. I think within us there's a huge wall. We need to overcome it. This wall is called the wall of fear, the wall of mistrust. I believe if we could overcome ourselves, overcome our fears, live and love and let go of what the other is thinking about us. What should I care? I need to be true to myself first and then be true to the others. Love, for God's sake. All we are missing is real love and honesty. I think we could change and make our world a different world.
I feel that my generation is very special because we really saw walls are falling. When I was 18, the German wall fell. And when I was 19, Russian immigrants came to Israel after there was a big wall and they cannot immigrate in Israel. So in the future, I can see it. I believe that walls will break, maybe not in my time. But meanwhile, until they break, we can just climb the wall. Okay, we know it exists, but look over the other side. And my hope for the future lays in education. And I believe in the way I educate my children to know the other, and that Arab is Camille, is Nuha son, and is Faten son. And it's not like, Arab as a statement. And when you know the people, so then you have a discussion. And I really believe in this future of education, us like women and mother. This is the only things we can do. I cannot change the world, and I do not understand in politics, but it's a small contribute, and I believe in it.
You have to sit and talk. There is power in dialogue. And If only we will, in my tribe, we say something that even the tooth and the tongue learn to live together. Sometimes they bite, but they get back and they learn to live together. Dialogue is important. Those who don't want dialogue are the weaker ones, because we have different ideas. Let's take, if your cause is right, then you should not be afraid to sit and talk about it. And I can also talk about my side of the argument. And at the end of the day, we may decide to disagree, but at least we'll have respect for each other's views. Dialogue is it's absolutely important, and I'm all for it. That will be the basis of discussion. That will be the basis. It is the coward who runs away from dialogue. At the end of the day, it is the coward who always goes for the gun. If your cause is right, sit down and let's talk it through. And I'm all for dialogue. It is very important. If we don't have faith, then we are lost. As I was brought up to believe in God, Everybody believes in something. Even the atheists believe in something. Everybody believes there's a higher force, a powerful force. And that's why we worship that force. Everybody, Buddhists, Christians, Catholics, Protestants, Islamists. And Islam is another word for peace, I understand. Everybody believes and worships. There is faith. And I know that with this faith that we harbor, there is also hope. The two are interrelated, faith and hope. And that is the bedrock of Christianity. That's the bedrock of Islam. That's the bedrock of all religions, faith in something. And I know that this is the time, this is the stage that the world has reached, that people have faith. Faith in doing the right thing, faith in living, faith in the omnipotence of God. And I know that the enemy is defeated.
I just have to pray. We have to pray that someday wisdom, we don't know where, wisdom will come and people will see things differently. And then we can tear down the wall. That's the only thing I can do or I can say.
אנשי דת צריכים לעשות הרבה יותר שלום בעולם. ואנחנו היהודים מתפללים 3 פעמים ביום, וגם מסיימים את כל ברכות המזון, בעושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אנחנו מתפללים אל השלום כל הזמן, ואנחנו מקווים שהקדוש ברוך הוא יעזור למנהיגים שלנו לכרות ברית של שלום. הקדוש ברוך הוא ברא את האדם בצלמו. לא כתוב מוסלמי, לא כתוב נוצרי. כל אדם שנברא הוא נברא בצלם אלוקים, ואסור לנו להרוג אותו. האדם יותר קדוש מהאדמה, ואם צריך שאנחנו נוותר על האדמה שהיא שלנו, בשביל שיהיה שלום, אנחנו מוותרים עליה ונותנים לכל אחת לחיות באדמה הזאת.
L'importanza di creare nelle piccole comunità, a partire dalle famiglie, dei nidi di pace, dei nidi di dialogo. E poi mi sono detta, forse è il tempo delle donne, è ora che i percorsi di riconciliazione siano affidati alle donne. Quindi ho pensato di contattare e di mettere insieme donne leader nelle proprie comunità religiose, perché è inutile che cerchiamo la pace solo con le persone che nascondono la religione o che dicono non c'è un'identità religiosa. No, andiamo proprio a prendere persone, donne in questo caso, donne, madri, leader di 5 diverse comunità religiose. Ho chiamato una sorella, Hedva, ebrea ortodossa, che ha condiviso subito quest'idea dicendo è una follia, non è un'utopia ma è una follia, impossibile. E allora dico, perché è impossibile? Andiamo. E così il contatto e il primo incontro in Italia, un territorio neutro, un territorio dove le donne hanno potuto guardarsi in faccia. Ricordo come la donna Haredi, la prima volta che è arrivata, quasi tremava. Ad ebrei normali già un caso stranissimo, arabe cristiane, arabe musulmane, druse e beduine. Era la prima volta che accadeva e dalla paura pian pianino è nata l'incontro, è nata la voglia di stare insieme. Oppure la donna di Lod, leader della comunità islamica, che ha parlato della sua corrispondente ebrea di Lod, come ha detto pubblicamente: questa è la mia nemica, è ebrea, è ortodossa, è colonna, mi ha occupato la casa. Avevamo paura di questo, era il nostro timore, e adesso siamo diventate amiche, anzi abbiamo scelto di andare in camera insieme per poter godere anche di quell'ultimo minuto prima di dormire. E i miei figli non faranno più niente contro i suoi figli e i suoi non faranno più niente contro i miei, perché siamo diventate sorelle.
I think that the best things in life happen just by the way, without planning. And a year before this group, I thought to myself that when I grow up, I really want to be involved in women activities. And I think I was always open to other people. I like to meet people on the bus, on a train, on a flight. I like my work, meeting all the world through films. But eventually, the initiate was by Beltrami, who just gave me a phone call and said, Hedva, I want to organize a meeting, a conference. Find me 5 different women from a different religion. And I said, how would I do it? And I said, of course, she's my friend. Anything she says, I say yes. And then the selection of the women were quite random in a way that I always say that it's really, really God. Because in other way, I cannot explain how I did not know Faten, but my friend knew her and she heard about other things. And today Faten is so important. There is a TV series that mentioned her, and she's doing amazing thing, and she's really a great leader. Or Adina Barshalom, who was a hero of one of my films, and 5-6 years later, she's now getting the Israeli Award for Life Achievement. So nothing was planned, and I feel very blessed that I was part of this group. I remember the first meeting, it was in our home because we wanted to meet before we go to Italy. Before that, we only spoke on the phone, and I really tried to put everything very calm. It's not politics, it's discussion. You have to talk about yourself and your role in your society, something that would not threaten anything that people would say no to me. And then I invited them to my home, and all the women, mainly the Faten, Nuha and Suha, came with their husband. And I remember that we put all the husband in the balcony with some fruits and vegetables and whatever, and and then, minute by minute, when you put women together, first you become friends. You see the earring, you see the shoes, you have common things to talk about, and we have one mutual thing that we are always can talk against our husbands. So it's really make us, first we are women, we are mothers, and in a way, after speaking a little bit, a trust is built, because you find many things in common. And I think also that the fact that we didn't do it in Israel, but it's taking people to another place, so it takes out the context, and it makes you a vacation, an experience. For Basima, for example, it was the first time she went alone as a Druze without her husband, which is something that is very rare in her society. So I can difference the first time we were in Italy and the second time. And also the first time they were in my house and the second time. Second time, no one came with his husband. We had trust already built within us. And the second time in Italy, we already came as friends. And I remember one thing which was beautiful. The second time we were in Italy, you know that I cover my head because I'm a religious Jew, and Faten covers her head because she's a religious Muslim. And just 1 hour before Shabbat, we switch hats. Valeria had a hat, and Nuha put a hat, and I put Faten hat, and Faten put Dganit wig, because Dganit is not her hair, it's a fake hair because of modesty. And we all replaced situation and had a beautiful picture, which we do not allow to show to anyone, with different hairs and costumes. And it was sharing, it was behind the mask, being women, being friends.
You know, one day I was sitting in my office and I received a phone call from a woman named called Hedva. She introduced herself and she said, "My name is Hedva, and I was recommended your name to be part of this project in Italy. It's a conference about leadership and women from the Middle East. We were looking for a Christian woman, and I was asking, and your name was recommended to me. And I wanted to ask you if you want to be involved. And this is how my involvement started. I joined this project out of curiosity. Again, you know, I was a participant in many projects throughout my 20 plus years of professional life. But I never presented myself as me in any of these conferences. This was my first time sitting and talking about myself without, you know, having to talk about my work. I can choose not to talk about my work. You know, I chose to talk about myself, to represent who I really am. The relationship that came out from this encounter was amazing. I discovered that in my professional life, I was very, very also cautious to work with women. I had a very bad experience from my women relationship at work. But again, you know, here I am getting involved in such a project where I have to meet women and talk about women issues and discuss life with them. And suddenly I discovered that, you know, after all, I'm also a woman. There's something about me that relates to these other women. There are children, there are husbands, there is a life, there's a job, there is a daily challenge of how we live our lives as women. You know, how we are challenged on daily basis as women, and how we encounter this challenge and how we stand up to it.
I'm also like Nuha. I have some of my friends. It's a friend for Hedva, and she asked if she know a strong Arab woman, Muslim Arab woman that can be part of this conference, and she asked me, and I'm go, and it was the first time that I met Haridim, Isha Haridiya, ultra Orthodox, because I saw that is far away from my life, and it was amazing to meet this woman, to meet this world. It was like a dark world for me, and I learned about of their beliefs, their things, and I feel that each other learn about the other more عمق, deeply, with a lot of conflicts. When I talk about political things, or about the land, or about the Palestinian, or about the identity, I feel it's tough things. But in Italia, we can talk about these things. With my friend Tehila, she Orthodox Jewish woman. We have a fight about for whom this land or whom was be first. And after the day, we saw that each other live in the city, the nice city, and if the street is clean, clean, nadif. It's for me and for her. And maybe we together clean this road, and after that we fight about for whom this land. And when we do it together, cleaning together, doing things for our society, we learn about each other, and step by step we start to also love each other. Before this, it was very hard to me to say I love this woman. After we doing things together, things for our emotional, for our children, for our future, it be more successful and more مقبول. Acceptable.
In questi 4 anni dal primo incontro ogni donna in qualche modo ha cambiato la sua vita. La donna drusa ha preso il coraggio e sta inaugurando il primo museo druso di identità, che è un fatto eccezionale. La donna Faten, la donna musulmana, ha aperto insieme alla donna ebrea un centro sociale a Lod per bambini ebrei e arabi insieme. La donna cristiana ha avviato un fortissimo cammino di promozione del dialogo. E poi Adina Barshalom, che tornata dall'incontro in Italia, ha avviato presso l'Università Haredi degli ultra ortodossi il primo corso di diritti umani. 25 donne all'anno che vanno e visitano i campi profughi palestinesi, imparano che cos'è la cultura araba, iniziano a conoscersi e a far davvero cadere i muri del pregiudizio. Intanto questo è stato il primo incontro pubblico a Gerusalemme. Fare gli incontri pubblici in Italia è una cosa, farli a Gerusalemme è ben altro. Guardando gli occhi delle donne, ma anche gli occhi degli ascoltatori, mi sono convinta che è tanto più importante lavorare proprio qui.
I was very excited to hear about this group meeting in Jerusalem. The Bible itself says that pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love Jerusalem. Peace be within your walls, Jerusalem. So Jerusalem has historically been symbolic for peace. And of course, the enemy doesn't like that. And that is why there's always conflict. They bring conflict to Jerusalem, even though Jerusalem prefers peace. And the women meeting in Jerusalem is vitally, I have been to Jerusalem myself before, and it is not a coincidence. I think that even the Almighty himself wanted this to happen. Women of different faiths coming together. It reminds me of what happened in Ireland when the IRA were throwing bombs. Then suddenly, 2 women, one from the Catholic section, the other one from the Protestant section, decided to come together. And that was the genesis of what eventually settled peace in Ireland. The women started it, and then it progressed to the national level, and the men had no alternative than to follow what the women had started. The same thing happened in Liberia. The women started talking peace, and then the men had to put down their guns and follow suit. So we have a vital part to play, and I am very, very excited to see what is happening right in the middle of Jerusalem.
My name is Hedva Goldschmidt. I'm a mother of 5. I'm an Orthodox Jewish. I'm a mother of 5 and I'm the managing director of Go to Film, which is an Israeli film distribution company. My home and my company is based in Jerusalem, a city charged with multi-layered history and conflicting narrative, which sharpen one's senses and challenges one's perspective almost on a daily basis. I believe it's starting with the facts we are all women. As women, we give life, we are mother, and we are striving for a better future for our children. But the most important thing, and maybe this is the frame I called my small speech, is personal dialogue. And I would like to give the example of my friendship with Leah Beltrami. I think that with all the openness that you have in the world, each one of us living in like a shell of close friends, close community, close friends like he knows, and he knows only a certain world. The personal meeting, and I can talk only about myself, the personal meeting that is deep, intensive. The effect of the personal meeting is not something shallow, and it's not only at the point. It's a real chance to open our world and to, how do you say, in Hebrew there is a beautiful word called lehachil. It's like a container, but lehachil means mentally contain the other. And I feel that my meeting with Leah changed me. Our talks changed me. And eventually, we know each other for 15 years. After 7 years, my husband learned to know her and her husband, and then our kids met together and we became friends. And eventually, my community, who sees Leah at least once or twice a year in our synagogue as a Catholic woman, and you know she never would take off her cross, they learned to know someone else. And eventually, they are becoming small friendship between each other. And I will maybe finish by saying that in this Shabbat, you know, in a synagogue, in a Jewish synagogue, every morning during Shabbat, you say Dvar Torah. You say a few sentences from what we learned from the Torah. And Gilli, my husband, was standing in front of 200 people from the community, and he said, I want to tell you a story. And he told a story about Leah and about the Lent, which is a Christian fast, and about how she sees religion. And I think that 10 people in the crowd almost fainted, but the most of the people came afterwards, shake hands and say, wow, that was amazing.
שעשינו לנו חובה להכיר את ערביי ישראל.
We took it as a חובה, as a duty to know the Israeli Arabs.
וחלק מהלימוד היה להכיר את המנהגים שלהם, להכיר אותם אישית.
And part of this learning was to know them, to know their tradition, to know them in person.
וגם לגבות את המנהיגים שלנו,
and also to encourage our leader and to back up them,
כדי שיצליחו להביא שלום לעולם.
that they can bring peace to the world.
הקבוצה הזו גרמה לנו, גם למי שהטיל ספק בנחיצות הפרויקט הזה, גרמה לנו ביטחון בדרך, כדי שנוכל להמשיך את הפרויקטים המשותפים האלה.
This group gave us confidence, even to people who didn't believe in the middle of the way, to give us, this group gave me and us confidence in the essence and in the importance of these common projects that we do.
השלום מתחיל בבית, וזה הבית של כולנו.
Peace starts at home, and this is our own home.
תודה רבה.
לכן אני מנסה להסתפק בכל הנושא של דיאלוג ואמונה, שאני מרגישה שדרך הדיאלוג הראשוני אפשר אולי לכוון לשלום שמדובר.
Therefore, I believe in dialogue at first as a first step towards peace and understanding, and as a tool to lead to the bigger goal, which is peace and understanding.
במתחם הזה ועל הבמה הזאת אני רוצה להודות לכל החברים והשותפים והשותפות וכל ההבדלים.
I learned that we are all, after all, we are all human beings with the same dreams and the same wishes of wanting to live in peace.
והמפגש שלי עם פאטן, שעבדנו ביחד בעירייה, הוא העלה את זה לעוד רמה.
And my personal encounter with Faten while working with her in the municipality got this relationship to a higher level.
ולהיפגש בכאב של כל אחד ובשמחה של כל אחד.
To meet the happiness of each one and the pain of each one. A real encounter.
וזהו, זה נתן הרבה כוח והרבה תקווה שצריך לעשות את זה בין כל האנשים כדי שזה הדרך באמת לשלום.
This gave a lot of hope to do things, and it gave a lot of strength to come back and think differently in a way that we want to change.
היה לי קצת קשה לגשת לכל הנושא הזה בתור אישה חרדית.
It was very difficult for me to access all these meetings and subject as a very ultra-Orthodox woman.
לא קיבלתי גיבוי והסכמה מהבעל שלי בבית.
I didn't get any backup or agreement from my husband back at home.
אבל הוא יודע שהוא נשוי לאישה שהיא שונה.
But he knows he's married for a woman who is different.
וכשאדינה באה עם הרעיון של לפגוש את פאטן ואת נועה וסואה.
When Adina came with the idea of meeting Faten and Suah and Nuha, all of them, of course, are not Jewish,
גם אני
not Orthodox.
פחדתי מזה.
I was afraid of that. I was worried.
אבל מצד שני, אמרתי, טוב, מישהו צריך להיות במשבצת שלי.
On the other hand, I felt someone needs to fill this spot.
ועדיף שזה יהיה אני מאשר מישהו אחר.
And it's better be me than another ultra-Orthodox lady or someone else.
ובאמת הכרתי נשים מקסימות.
And I got to know amazing women.
שיש לנו הרבה מכנים משותפים.
And we have so lot in common.
והלימודים שלי בתואר שני,
and my studying in the second degree for resolution of conflicts in the Haredi Ultra-Orthodox College
אפשרה לי להכיל
enabled me to contain this.
את הקשר הזה איתם, או עם כל פלסטיני, ערבי, נוצרי, דרוזי.
It opened me to the contact with every Arab, Palestinian, Druze.
כאשר ההבנה המרכזית שנכנסה בי זה שאנחנו שנינו פה שני עמים שיושבים בארץ אחת וחייבים ללמוד להסתדר.
And the main understanding that I got from all of it is that we are two nations that are living in one country and we have to get along together.
ואני מקווה שאולי לא נגיע לשלום, אבל לפחות נלמד לדבר אחד עם השני.
And maybe to strive for a dream for peace is too high, but at least I believe and I hope that let's talk with each other.
ואני שמחה שנכנסתי לפרויקט הזה והכרתי את ליה.
And I'm happy I met Leah during this project.
שיש לה כל כך הרבה שאיפה ו-passion לעשות שלום.
She has such a passion and high dreams and aims for hope.
והיא עוזרת גם לנו.
Peace. And she helps us also.
וכמובן חדווה. She's doing her best every time and every minute.
For the first time, I had to speak about myself, about what I believe in and how I do believe, living in this country. It wasn't an easy encounter. Suddenly I started thinking of who I am and where I come from, what's my reality. My religious background as a Christian never came up when I used to define myself. And suddenly in this conference, for the first meeting, I had to talk about myself, as a Christian living in the Holy Land. A topic that I never talked about. The role that I play as a woman of how do I change reality. I never thought about that. I had a professional thing to do. There are bigger, slogans out there. It's peace and coexistence. But how do I achieve it as a woman? I was not aware of that. We live in a world that forces us to wear so many masks. Every day we wake up and we have to put on this mask of who we are and what is expected out of us and how we should act and what we should be saying, and what's good for the other. But we never are real to ourselves. Very few times we say what we really feel and what we really believe in. And I think the minute we decide to change is the minute we stand up for what we really feel and what we really believe. I think what made this whole experience real for us is Leah's belief in pushing us to meet ourselves, and to meet not in a professional, concept, but to meet on a personal level. They call us women a delegation for peace, and I say, peace is a too big word for us, right now. I am not sure if peace is the right word that needs to be used. I think peace has become more of a slogan than a reality and a higher goal. I think this word has been used and abused, I think that first we need to believe in ourselves, to make peace in ourselves, between our neighbors, to love and believe in the other, to trust, and then, we can change, okay?
But we are sure that our efforts will bring to amazing fruits, that the flowers will bloom, because women are the protagonists of change.
The women, different faiths, are embracing the idea that at the end of the day, they will form the nucleus of peace. God himself is going to bless this, and I think that one day history will give them the credit of what is happening now.